The color of this video is going to be crazy and all over the place. But we're doing the best we can with what we got. Sorry about that. Oh, first off, welcome to episode 5. Oh, there the color goes again. But welcome to episode 5 of The Poor Studio Guy. Sorry it's been so long. It's just the way it is, I guess. But anyways, let's get right into things. As you probably saw from the title of the video, I was able to make an old Hammond organ that my mother had bought for me for a grad present into a amplifier for my guitar. I don't really play organ, and I looked it up and double checked that the Hammond organ wasn't a rare, expensive one. And so I figured, hey, I'm going to use the guitar amp a lot more than I do an organ. So I did it. I'm definitely not the guy who is going to be able to show you an in-depth video of how to go about doing it. I'm going to put a link in the show notes of a guy whose video I watched, and it was just excellent at explaining all the different things you needed to know in order to make your Hammond organ into an amp. But I just wanted to do a video to show you that, hey, this free thing that I got as a present, I was able to turn into a pretty sweet tube amplifier. I think anyways, you'll hear for yourself in a second. And I got a little test to show you to compare it to a different tube amp. Then we'll see if it holds up. And it's got some cool functions that I'll show you too, as far as the effects from the organ. So why don't I'll give you a close-up of it, and then I'll grab my guitar and show you some of the cool things it can do. So there's the on-off switch, and I put a little spot for a guitar jack there, and there is a volume soft button. I'll show you what that does. Then there's a reverb 1 and 2. Those are kind of cool. There's an actual reverb tank in the back. I'll see if I can show you that. There's vibrato chorus, vibrato small, and vibrato normal. Those are kind of cool. And a cool little thing, I have an empty slot here. I was gonna check with a few people who know things like this and see if I could put in a, I don't know if an analog VU meter would work. The slot's not really big enough, but I was thinking maybe a LED VU meter would be kind of cool in there. I don't know. It's an empty slot that I got to do something with, so I figured I'll check and see. And one of the coolest things about this that I like is it's got the music stand. That's kind of fun. I'll see if I can get it to stay up here. Music stand. Kind of cool. So this here is the back of it. As you can see, it's all a mess. I actually even have to fasten the amps themselves to the actual cabinet to secure them in. I just have to do a couple things first. And I got to find a way to clean up all these wires and make them all neat and tidy and not all over the place. And then I got to find a grate for the back to just help keep little kids' hands out of there, because little kids' hands get everywhere. But all right. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this amp here. Okay, so I'm playing my Fender Telecaster kit guitar. I'm going to have to do a video on this someday. It was a lot of fun, and it sounds pretty good. It was like $100 and some dollars. So a fairly cheap way to get a nice guitar. But anyway, that'll be for another video. Today we'll see what this amp can do, and then we'll compare it to a different tube amp that I got. So, another cool thing I need to show you is the volume knob of this amp. As you might know, organs often will have a foot pedal for the volume, and that was the case for this one, and I'll show you a clip of it here. So anyways, let's see what this thing can do. This is just the none of the organ effects or anything. This is just clean guitar into the amp. This is vibrato normal. vibrato small. This is vibrato chorus. I think it's meant to go along with the vibrato button, but I do notice that it does something when it's just on its own too. So I'll show you that. So here's it off, and then here's it on. It's bright and jangly kind of. Now I'll show you the vibrato chorus alongside the vibrato normal. Vibrato chorus along with the vibrato small. And this is all three of them together. Pretty crazy stuff, but it actually sounds kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys out there playing bands that could use something like that. So next we'll go on to the reverb. So this is reverb 1. This is reverb 2. This is both of them together. And this one is kind of fun. This is all of the effects together. Crazy stuff. This one I find a little more usable. I just do the vibrato small, vibrato chorus, and reverb 1 and 2. It's a little bit more useful, I think, but. Yeah, so that's the effects. Then there's this volume soft button here. All it does, as far as I can tell, you guys might be able to hear a bit of a tone change. Maybe I can't hear anything, but it just makes it quieter pretty much. So here's it with it off. And then so that's that. A quick switch between loud and soft, which is kind of cool. But I don't know. It's a really good sounding amp. One of the things that's kind of cool is when you look at all the electronics from the amp, it's all point to point soldering, and so if something goes, it might be a little easier to repair. Hopefully, hopefully nothing breaks for a while, but yeah, things do break from time to time. So that's this amp. I'm going to do an experiment. We're back. Once upon a time, my wife bought me this Epiphone Valve Junior head, which is it's a really awesome little tube amp for a fairly cheap price as far as tube amps go. So let's do a bit of comparison between the Epiphone Valve Junior and the Hammond Organ amp. See the differences and see how they hold up against each other. So there you have it, the cool little organ amp that I think sounds pretty good. It's definitely very usable when it comes to different guitar sounds that you might need in the studio. And it was cheap. The real expense of it was the plywood, the good one-side plywood for the cabinet itself, and then everything else was straight from the organ itself. So if you're the creative type and you think you can do something like this, go for it. As I said, I'll put a link in the show notes to a video that was very useful for me when it came to this build. One thing I do want to mention when it comes to working on tube amps, be super, super, super careful. Do some research about how capacitors can hold on to a charge, and if things aren't grounded off carefully, you can get yourself seriously hurt or killed. So be careful that way. Otherwise, I don't know, it's a fun little project. It was good to do another video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, or at least some of you. A couple video ideas that I have for the future. Who knows, maybe 1 or 2 years from now will be, like I was saying, that guitar build. I would like to compare it to a real Telecaster, and maybe I have a cheap, what they call a Starcaster, still made by Fender, but it's their cheap version of the Telecaster. Maybe we could do a comparison between those guitars. Also, for Christmas, my wife bought me a USB microphone, so I thought it'd be cool to do a shootout between a USB microphone and what I assume would be a similar microphone of its kind, is an AT2020 that our band bought to use, so we could do a shootout between that. And anyways, that's some ideas. I haven't forgot about this channel. I still am passionate about doing this kind of thing. I hope you are too. I hope you found this useful. And anyway, until next time, do what you can with what you got. Thanks.